What's going on, everybody? This is Tanner with NFL Broadcaster. Today, I have a special guest on the podcast. This is Raj with the Instagram page, Our San Francisco 49ers. He has over 130,000 Instagram followers, has a very loyal fan base and a lot of good, just a great community on Instagram. If you guys want to give him a follow, he would appreciate that. I would appreciate that. I have tons of respect for him. You guys, once again, our San Francisco 49ers. Raj, thank you so much for joining, man. How are you today?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm doing good. It's Monday. Been a grind, of course, every Monday is, but we're getting closer to the season and it's getting exciting.
Yeah, I'm ready. I think I saw a post like yesterday said we have like only one more full month without football because then it's like in like August or something.
Yeah. I mean, training
So,
camp's right around the corner in like 3
yeah.
weeks. So unbelievable.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm ready. I'm one of those guys who always wishes the football season was longer or it like lasted longer throughout the year because the off season, man, it just kills me. I'm always so pumped for it. But yeah, we're getting close to the season, and I just want you maybe tell me like what you're excited for the 49ers. Like, what is the most intriguing part of the team going forward right now?
Man, where do I start? There's so much to be excited for this team. I feel like we've had one of the most legendary off seasons. I mean, we were one of the most talked about teams. Of course, Trey Lance, they make the trade a couple months ago. They move up to get the number 3 pick, sent shockwaves, around the league. Everybody's like, holy smokes, Niners made the big move. And then, of course, there was like a month and a half of speculation. Who are they going to get? Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. Oh, my God. And then Trey Lance. So we're excited about him because, that's the future of the team.
Yep.
And then all the other rookies. You can't just single out everybody else because they got a good rookie class from what it, on paper and everything that it looks like. They really did a great job. So all the rookies, they were able to bring back Trent Williams, Jason Verrett, Kyle Juszczyk. Like, that was tough because a lot of people didn't think they were going to be able to bring their big free agents back. Those were their main guys. They brought back a few other guys. They didn't really lose too many people. So if you really think about it, from that Super Bowl run, they haven't lost a lot of players. Buckner and Sanders and Kendrick Bourne, those are really key guys they lost, but they've been able to replace them pretty well. You had, you lost KB, or you lost Sanders. You bring in Brandon Ayuk last year, who's coming into his second year, looking like he's primed for a breakout. Same thing, Javon Kinlaw. So there's just so much to be excited about. They just released the throwback 94 jerseys.
I saw that.
So those look pretty. It's just so much to be excited. The fans are back. Levi Stadium, full capacity. I'm going to be at week 3 against Green Bay, the home opener. So, man, literally everything. And then the return of Nick Bosa. I mean, man.
Bro, you're going to be at the Green Bay game?
Yeah, I'm going to be there. It's going to be amazing.
Dude, I wish. I've never been to a Green Bay Packers game. That's a dream.
But you got to go one day.
I know. I want to go to Lambeau Field.
I had a good friend. She went 2 years back to a Packers game. And I was jealous. I was like, oh man, stow me in your luggage. I want to go do whatever you got to do. Because I respect like legendary stadiums. Actually, what I started to do in baseball, I've been just trying to go to baseball games to like catch the stadiums. I went to Oakland game this weekend. I never been to the Coliseum. That was fun. I'm going to a Dodgers game too. So just to kind of get the history of sports stadiums around the world, it's nice. It's fun.
The only NFL game I've been to, it was last season. It was when Andy Dalton was starting for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not a Cowboys fan at all, but my stepdad got free tickets. So it's like, why not take it?
I know, why not?
Yeah, I was like, okay. And they were playing they played the 49ers.
Okay.
Yeah, they played the 49ers, and I think they beat y'all, actually.
Yeah. That was tough. That was a rough year last year.
Yeah.
Really stacked up on us.
Yeah.
But,
I was actually going for the 49ers because I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I was like, it was still a cool game to see. And I don't know, that was like the first time I've ever been even close to an NFL stadium and just walking into Yeah. I was like, I walked into this place and I'm like, holy cow. Jerry Jones was literally like, you see this wall right here, right?
Yeah.
He was like 3 feet to this side and then 2 feet back. And me and my mom like went up there because, he has people turning around and waving at him 24/7. But my mom was like, this is our first time here. She's like, we're actually from Arkansas because he went to the U of A. And And she's like, my son actually goes to U of A. He's like, is it cool if we just grab a quick picture? And we're like, and it was so cool. He was super friendly. And I was just like in shock and awe the entire time I was at the stadium. AT&T Stadium was huge.
That stadium's nice, man. Actually, I've been there because I have most of my family. They're Cowboys. They're all in Texas. Like, it's crazy. I'm a Niner fan because most of my family, they're Cowboys fans. They probably disowned me already by this point. But me and my dad were Niner fans. So I was raised by my dad, and he was like, look, you can never be a Cowboys fan. And growing up, that was the rivalry, Cowboys Niners. They always would go neck and neck. And
Yeah.
whoever would win the playoffs may usually go to the Super Bowl in the 90s. But I remember a couple years back, Thanksgiving, my cousin, he's, big shot in Texas real estate. He wanted to invite everybody to come to watch the Dallas game for Thanksgiving. And it was in like the press box seats. And part of me, I was like, I don't want to go to Dallas. I don't want to go to Dallas. And then I thought about it. I was like, how much is it? He goes, dude, I'm paying your ticket for free. Come down, see the family. It's like a family reunion. You get to watch a free football game. I was like, actually, that's not a bad idea. So we were in the press box watching the game. It was actually a hell of an experience. Their stadium's nice. I hate the Cowboys, but I got to give it to them. AT&T Stadium is damn pretty
huge. It was so nice.
Yeah.
Man, that is awesome. For free? You're like, okay.
Yeah, I came in wearing Niners stuff though, so they looked at me like they were not too happy.
Hey, I went there wearing Green Bay shirt. I totally understand. Man, that's so funny.
Yeah.
God. So you said you're excited about Lance. You're excited about Nick Bosa coming back. I've seen some of the highlight reels of him training and just getting healthier. So he looks good. He's looking really good. One thing about Lance, though, I'm not like upset they picked Lance, but I know there was like controversy between Mac Jones, Lance, and Fields. When you guys selected Lance, were you surprised to see how far Justin Fields dropped?
That's a good question because I kind of thought it was going to be Justin Fields. I had a feeling, I had some, insight and things like that. But I also thought Trey Lance could be one of the guys. I felt like it was between those two, really. The QB coach, that was getting the plays, and all the stuff leading up to it. I figured it had to be one of those two guys because I feel like Shanahan wants something to evolve that offense, Mac Jones, I just never bought the Mac Jones hype because they already have a guy that's very similar to him in Jimmy G. And no disrespect to either one of them, you don't trade up all the way up to get a guy that you pretty much have on the roster. He just needs to stay healthy. So I didn't think Mac was worth the number 3 pick. I think he went to the team that should have got him, Patriots. It's going to be a great landing spot for him.
Absolutely.
Justin Fields, I feel that Fields kind of dropped a little towards the end because of the epilepsy and those reports. I mean, I'm sure teams knew about it, but then it got to the media, and maybe that was something that played into it. But when Shanahan kind of divulged over the last couple of weeks, and Lynch talked about, when Shanahan really studied the tape and he fell in love with this guy, and then they got to meet him, and the way he acts, you could kind of sense that, this was their guy. And I don't think Trey or Justin did anything wrong. And I don't think that Justin did anything wrong specifically to drop. I just think for the Niners specifically, they look at it in terms of, okay, what does this person bring to the table in personality wise? Because they got to look at that. They are big on like your personality and the human being element. They really look at it, that term of it, of how good of a person is this. And they sat down with them. He has a good family. I'm sure Justin does too, but I think that really won them over, when they went to their pro day and the meetings. And that's what I told a lot of people when I was doing my lives a couple months ago, preparing for the draft. I said, look, the Niners, most of these pro days, they're all going to be nice. They're scripted. They look good. They're going to throw the pretty passes and stuff. What they really want to get to know is who the player is with those sit down meetings and when they have the face to face. So I think that's what won them away. I don't think Justin did anything to hurt himself, but I think the teams after the 49ers, they weren't pressed for a quarterback because, Carolina, they went and got Darnold, and then, a few other teams, they put themselves in position to kind of not necessarily need to force themselves to get a quarterback. So I think Chicago, though, was a team that was like, holy crap, this guy Fields is dropping. Let's move up and take him. So the Bears really put themselves in good position to get a future franchise quarterback. They really needed it. So I think
they did.
Teams right behind us probably were like, we don't really need to make the pick on this guy. And Chicago was like, holy crap, we can't pass this up. So it worked out for them, really.
I'm not really sure like anyone thought about that scenario. Like, the Jets took Zach Wilson, 49ers took Lance. And I'm sure they were expecting Mac Jones to at least it could possibly be top 10. I mean, I'm sure teams were like not expecting him to be available. And
No.
what was Mac Jones selected overall? I know Fields was 11th
15,
overall.
15. I actually
15th.
had him slotted before when I did my mock draft. I had Mac Jones going to the Patriots at 15.
Yeah.
I just didn't see him as a top 10 quarterback. No knock to him. I think he's good. His body work is great. You know, he has the mechanics. But if you look at him, Alabama has a stout team, stout O-line, stout running game, stout
For
receiver.
sure.
So he was on a great team. But I mean, you still have to put the passes where they got to be on the money. So he made the plays, but I felt like he just didn't, to me, he didn't do enough to be a top 10 prospect. And that's kind of where it landed. But I definitely was a little surprised with Fields because I think he could have been at number 2, like a top 5 pick.
Yeah,
But
I thought so too. But I don't think teams really even considered like, well, what if Fields gets to you? You're gonna take him. But then I think the Bears were like, okay, this dude's like literally dropping past the top 10 pick. I think we got to make a move here. I mean, we got Andy Dalton. We traded away, or Mitch Trubisky did. I forget if they traded him away or he was a free agent or something, or they released him. I forget. But I know he's with the Bills now. But like, they're just like, well, Justin Fields is kind of slipping to number 10, number 11. Let's just trade up and get him. And like, what a huge steal for them.
that was a major steal, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great pick. And I think with Mac Jones going to the Patriots, I saw him like he seems like a fit for the Patriots all the way. And I think a lot of mock drafts I actually saw having him go to the Patriots. It just made sense. And I'm surprised, like, it just worked out so perfectly for the Patriots. I'm sure Bill Belichick was just sitting there like, yeah, like his ultimate master plan always works, you know?
He gets what he wants. And I mean, this guy he potentially could be the next Brady because he has the pocket presence. You know, he's the type of, pocket quarterback that Belichick probably wants for his offense. And he can figure out the scheme and learn the offense. And if anybody can make him work, it's Belichick. He's the great coach, one of the greatest coaches I've seen, and he knows how to develop players. And
he does.
You could tell he's a little angry after Tom Brady won a Super Bowl without him. So he did everything he could. They spent a lot of money. They got defensive players coming back that opted out last season. They're coming in and they have a lot of chips on their shoulders, And,
I think they had the most players opt out of 2020, I believe, out of any team with like 7, and they were all maybe defensive players.
They were good players too.
Yeah.
There were some good ones. Yeah.
And then they went out and they signed Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. They signed
Kendrick Bourne.
Kendrick Bourne,
Yeah.
They signed a bunch of wide receivers and they spent a lot of money. And I think they had not like an underrated offseason, but just like a massive offseason that not really people noticed it, but not like they only noticed like 2 of the signings, and that was the 2 tight ends. They didn't really pay attention to like how many of the wide receivers they signed. They didn't pay attention to all of the people who are coming back out of opting out of 2020. Now, Patriots fans are, but I don't know. Patriots had a great offseason, I think.
I think so too. And and again, they got a quarterback that I feel can develop well and be a great future quarterback for them. So they did well. And I think Mac Jones definitely went to the right team. I'm glad the Niners didn't take him because, again, with the number 3 pick, I don't think that would have been the right pick. I think if we would have stayed at 12 and we took him, I would have been cool with it. But trading up all that capital to get a carbon copy almost of a Jimmy G type player I was just like, man. And I didn't believe any of that smoke because all the media reports were, it's going to be Mac, because the Niners they just really, historically with Shanahan and Lynch, they don't leak information. They don't, especially that type of information. Like that stuff doesn't get out. So.
Yeah, you're right. It's probably all smoke. I mean, of course, getting closer to draft day, everything just starts coming up, you know. And I don't know. There was videos of like Bill Belichick watching Mac Jones at like his pro day, and he's just like shaking his head. I mean, he's probably
they got to play it off. You don't want to give everybody a tell. You got to play a poker face. You got to have a poker face. And I remember that he throws like a bad pass, and then you just see Mac, and then you see Shanahan or Bill Belichick like, come on, dog. And then he drops him. So it's all
I know. I loved it, man. I was like, God, that's typical BB right there.
I love draft season, man. That's one of my favorite. As slow as the off season can be, that part of the off season, the whole draft season kind of era is the best because all the hype, all of the prospects, And then after that, after the draft, it kind of dies down. And then you're like, okay, crap, let's get the season back because there's no more content. You're posting old clips and it gets boring.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So you were talking about other rookies. You believe you guys had a really good rookie class.
Yeah.
Outside of Lance and Trey Sermon, I don't, off the top of my head, I can't remember who else you guys drafted. Do you want to talk about them if you have any information?
Trey Sermon, I'm so excited. Honestly, outside of Trey Lance, Trey Sermon was my favorite pick. I can't believe they took a guy like that. Number 3, round 3, Trey Sermon, and Shanahan's offense, run first offense with the zone blocking scheme. Trey Sermon is already set up to be a star in this league. That's all I got to say about it.
Oh, yeah.
I can sit here and talk about Trey all day, but the other draft picks, we got Aaron Banks, guard out of Notre Dame with the 2nd round pick. Yep. That was a huge pick because they needed to upgrade the O-line. Last season, they got in a lot of injuries. They were battered around. And a lot of the players they drafted this season were kind of depth pieces on positions that were really banged up last season. The big theme last year was injuries. They had so many players go to the injured reserve, and all the running backs got hurt. Cornerbacks got, demoralized. Their secondary, the safeties, the linemen. We played a 6-string center at one point. So, I mean, we needed a good lineman. So we got Aaron Banks, guard out of Notre Dame, 2nd round pick. I'm projected him to be a starter, of course, on the line. You don't take him in the 2nd round not to start. And then they got a cornerback out of Oregon, Demonor Lenore. He's probably going to be a slot cornerback. And the thing is, K'Wan Williams, he returned this season. This is another guy that was big time part of their defense that came back. 1-year deal. He's he's 30. So if he leaves next season, I expect Lenore to kind of take his spot, and they're going to train him to be that guy. So he's a young kid. Ambry Thomas in the 3rd round, also another young cornerback. He opted out last season, so people forgot about him. But 2019 was a great year. Put himself on the map. Probably could have been a top, round 2 pick if he stayed and kind of kept going with it. A cornerback out of Michigan, but the opt out, people kind of forgot him. But he good young kid, press corner guy. I like this kid. He looks like he could maybe also contribute to special teams. He played some return man. And then they got Tufanga out of USC. I think I'm saying his name right. But he was the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. This guy was all world. He was a great defensive player. He's trained with Hall of Fame player Troy Polamalu, former safety with the Steelers. So he has that makeup, that kind of character build. He's a tough, hard-nosed player. I'm excited for him. He seems like he could be that 5th round steal. He was a 5th round pick. That's the type of player that they get and they develop, and you're like, holy crap, why did people forget about this guy? But I guess he didn't test well, and his numbers weren't good. Those types of guys work a little harder. And then you got Elijah Mitchell, running back. So they got another running back. They got 2 running backs, Trey Sermon and Mitchell. But remember, every running back was banged up last season.
I remember that for sure.
Raheem Mostert's on the last year of his contract. Jeff Wilson signed a 1-year deal, but he had torn meniscus where he has to get surgery. So if they're not back next season, you got some insurance, 2 young running backs that you can add to the mix. But I'm excited about all of them, really. The cornerbacks, we definitely needed because, like I said, they were banged up. They had to pull on like 6-string cornerbacks. Richard Sherman's not back. So I'm excited about the young cornerbacks there.
Y'all re-signed Jason Verrett, right? He's like 30, 31.
Yeah, he's in his 30s. Yeah, 30. He just turned 30.
And he's good, but he's had an injury history himself, right? I mean, I'm pretty
Correct.
sure
He's went through a lot of injuries, but it was nice to see him healthy last season and finally kind of rise above that. And this season, he said, I'm done with the injuries. Don't talk to me about injuries anymore. And this is really the first off season he's going into a season where he's not rehabbing, since maybe his rookie year. So this is big for him, man. And I feel bad because over his career, he probably could have had a perennial Pro Bowl type career. That's how good he is. He showed us last season. He clamped D-Hop, and he was tearing it up last year. And I can only imagine how he would have been earlier in his career had he not had those injuries. So he's coming in with a good mindset. But again, you're right. He is 30. It's not like he's going to play forever, but he still has a couple of years of solid football left. And I think now he's going to try to make up for lost time.
I think so too. And if he plays anything like he did last year, I mean, you guys are going to be solid at cornerback, even without Richard Sherman, with the depth you guys drafted. Jason Verrett and is Quan Williams, is he a cornerback or is he
K'Wan, he's a nickel cornerback. Williams. They also have Emmanuel Mosley. He's the other cornerback, probably cornerback too. So he's the other guy. They brought him back, and they let Kello Witherspoon walk. Kello went to the Seahawks, so they chose Mosley over Kello. Essentially, they brought back Mosley on a 2-year deal. So you got Mosley and Verrett. I think that's a pretty solid secondary. I think it really depends on how the front seven is, especially that D line, because that's the key. If they can get pressure on the quarterback, they're going to take pressure off the secondary. It's what happened in 2019. They were eating those quarterbacks up. I mean, they had some issues with the mobile quarterbacks, but when they played those pocket passers, man, they were not doing anything, and the secondary was taking advantage of it. So
yeah, that's right. And I don't know, good points there. I think you made some valid points. I think the depth at the offensive line was definitely a big one with Banks, because I remember you guys last season, it's like everyone is freaking injured. I was like, dude, the 49ers is just, it was like seriously like the injury bug. You were like worse than the Chargers, and the Chargers are like, I feel like the Chargers are injured every single season. And I was like, dang, dude, the 49ers caught that bug hard, and you could have been Super Bowl contenders. I mean,
honestly, even the Super Bowl year, we had a ton of injuries. Like ever since Shanahan took over, we've had bad luck stemming back to that. I mean, Jimmy G a couple years back, Reuben Foster, and then the issues, and then last year took the cake though, because Debo started the season, broke the foot. Then week 2 comes, Raheem gets hurt, Jimmy gets hurt, Bosa gets hurt, Solomon Thomas AC, and it was just like a trickle down effect.
Jeez, man, I forget about all the injuries.
And then Ayuk got a freaking COVID, and then he got a hamstring strain, and it's just like, come on, man, every player was like, so. I mean, to finish 6-10 last season was pretty damn impressive, I feel, because those injuries were absolutely brutal, man. And again, it was amazing that Jason Verrett was like the healthiest player. To him and Jimmy Ward, who perennially been two guys that, went through injuries, they rose above. So I feel if they can do it, the rest of his team can finally come back healthy. And it's tough. And like you said, the O-line, man, that was the one part that really took a big toll. Because if you can't stay healthy in the trenches, you're not going to win the game. And that's why I was happy this year. We got another guy, a new guy I didn't mention yet that I'm excited about, Alex Mack, bringing him at center.
Yeah.
He's going to help out a lot. Just communication-wise, he's a great veteran, perennial Pro Bowler. I think he's going to really help this O-line out. And I'm excited about just about a lot of new players.
Great influence in the locker room. I
Definitely,
mean, longtime Falcon, right? I don't even think he was with any other team, right? He's just
Falcon for his career, and he's coached. He's played under Shanahan when Shanahan was the OC back in Atlanta, so he knows the system. So it's not like he has to learn anything. He's gonna be. He sees the playbook. Oh yeah, I remember these. Let's go.
Yeah, he's ready to go. Man, I forgot how many signings the 49ers actually made. I think they made them all like pretty early in the offseason. So like since then, I've just like forgotten how much. You guys brought back your fullback.
Yeah, we brought back. Yeah, we brought back Kyle Juszczyk, Trent Williams, Jason Verrett, Manuel Mosley. We signed Zach Kerr, Arden Key, Mo Hurst, Samson Ebukam, Alex Mack. I mean, those were the big moves. Tony Jefferson, who you were on that for a while. You had that source for a while. Remember that,
dude? Oh my God, yeah.
Tavon Wilson, Trent Sherfield.
Yeah, I was actually I was on that Tony Jefferson news when he told us he had a second flight to San Francisco. We were like, oh, we're all over this. We're all over this. And but then it went like weeks and we didn't hear anything. We're like, Tony, are you there? And he finally was like, yeah. I mean, there for a while, he just kind of went quiet on us, and we're like, man, he's gonna give that news to someone else. But he eventually reached back out to the NFL Rumors team, and I was just told from them, so I had to go on what I was being told. I was like, man, this is sketch.
I saw that too, because I heard some things through a grapevine. I mean, I got people I'm connected to, but I don't know what just throw my news out. I wait until the media, like a big reporter, Schefter or something goes with it, and I'll post it, because I'm not like a beat writer. I don't want to step on their toes, but it's tough when you get a big source like that, and then people will sit there and be like, oh, now you're just making it up for clout, da da da. And then you're sitting there like, oh crap, we were on this. And then people are like, oh, you guys make it up. And then finally, when it comes out, you're like, okay, thank God, So I can only imagine how a guy like Schefter or Rappaport is, because they got a big time leaks,
it was. There's actually been a couple things where they've posted it, and we're like, oh, we posted this yesterday, but you don't really and it's fine, because it wasn't breaking news when I posted or someone else posted. It's not breaking news because you don't have like that.
Yeah,
You're not 100%,
you don't have to follow me. You don't have
right.
like the background. You're not a, journalistic. You don't have the journalistic backing behind you. Yeah, I get it, man.
Yeah. And I mean, which is fine, like we've been through it before, and I'm like, yeah, we're not like we don't shoot 100%, which is totally cool. I mean, there are rumors account to begin with, so it's like they get a lot of hate, but I
Yeah,
find it
I see
fun.
that. It's
Yeah,
fun though. I see that they get so much hate, but they've been actually like they were on point with a lot of stuff over the free
yeah,
agency period. I was laughing because I remember I have them, I got their notifications out, so I was like,
yeah,
I see that someone comment, "You guys are idiots," and they comment back like, "We're just doing what we're told." And then like a day later, the news that they had said comes out, and I'm laughing. I'm like, these guys. I mean, they get sources like even me, like I get info, I get behind the scenes info. You don't cover a team for so many years and not know people, but
right.
people think you're not a bona fide source. That's why I'm like, look, I'm not going to leak anything. I'm not going to like per me or per my source. I'm just going to wait till media leaks it because I'm not trying
Yeah,
to get hurt, man.
yeah, it gets rough, and like I don't know, I've gotten like hate from several. I mean, there's like I don't want to like say his name, but there's like an NFL insider. I'm sure you've seen him post about it.
I've seen it.
Oh my god, dude, he like tweeted he like went to my personal profile and like he's like, there's this guy named Tanner and he lives in Arkansas and blah blah. I was like, dang, bro,
Dang, man, you
chill.
like shots fired,
Yeah,
man.
I was like, free clout, whatever. I don't care, man. It's whatever. It was so I just
Yeah,
laugh it off, but it's fun. It's fun covering it, and I
it
liked
is fun.
the Tony Jefferson signing. He signed on my birthday, and I was like, oh, it's a good day,
There you go. That's cool. I didn't know you signed on your birthday. Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
June
mean,
7th. I was like,
you're
oh,
right
it's a
because
good
that
day.
that kind of like the first report of him coming to the Niners was a while back, and then nothing happened. And then I remember I was like even live, and people were like, "Hey, what's happening to Tony Jefferson?" I was like, honestly, I don't know anymore. He said he was gonna meet with the team. The team that was reported by multiple sources. I remember like Justina Anderson even report. She was like, "Yeah, he's meeting with the team." And then after that, like nothing materialized. And then all of a sudden, it's like a random day he signed, and I was like, "Oh, that's so weird." It was just out of the blue. So the way the
Yeah,
Niners, the Niners they work a little different than people. They kind of like keep people on their toes. Sometimes they'll meet with the guy and say, "Hey, look, we're not ready yet." They got to look at other people. Maybe they look at certain things in the physical reports. Maybe a certain guy gets injured and they're like, "Oh, hey, yeah, we called you a couple of weeks ago. We didn't need you then, but we need you now." So even so,
yeah,
when they meet with players, and they just around the league too. When certain teams meet with players, it's not a guarantee, but they always like keep them on deck if they really like them. So if they down the line need someone, they'll come like, "Hey, maybe you came back on you trained with us a few months ago. We need a position open," and they'll call them up. Especially the Niners, they did that a lot over the years with the injuries. Like Jordan Matthews, this guy was cut and brought into the team so many
forgot
times,
about him.
but he's a guy that I remember they probably have him on speed dial, and they're like, "Hey, look, one of our guys got hurt. We need to bring you in." Like, yeah, okay, cool,
We
sign me
know
up.
you. We trust you. You're a good player. We need you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of guys just kind of go through that cycle where they're on a team, they get cut, but they're always close to the team, and they're like that insurance policy for a team.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man. That was like with Tony Jefferson. We're like, I even saw the messages where he told us stuff, and I was like, okay, but things went quiet for like a long time, and then we're like, okay, I guess that kind of looked bad, but then
Yeah.
it just out of nowhere, we're like, yes, finally.
There you go.
Uh,
That was good. Yeah, I'll even sometimes get like family members. They'll DM me like, "Hey, look," dude, and they talk to me and tell me stuff, and I'm, "Oh, cool."
that's
Keep it under
awesome.
wraps. And then
Yeah.
I'm like in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, I gotta get, this might happen." And then couple days go by, weeks go by, nothing happens, and then boom, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah." So but I don't like to like, I could use that and post it and say, "Hey, look, per da 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 da." But
Exactly.
I don't
But
know.
like, you don't want to, I mean, because it's not 100% guaranteed, and it's not like if they give you permission or not, you just don't ask about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
get
just
it.
say, "Hey, cool, thanks for the info," and then when it happens, you're like, "Oh, you reach back out to them, and say, 'Hey, look, thanks for telling me all that.'" So
It's better to do that, I think, anyways, just because all this, like, they automatically are like, wow, I told him this weeks ago and I didn't see him post anything about it, even though it was true.
yeah, and
So
you get some respect out of that. Yeah,
yeah, I think it builds a lot of relationship there and a lot of trust. I think that's
definitely.
really good.
Yeah,
Um, so we talked about Trey Sermon. You're excited about him. I was pretty
man.
stoked for you guys. He's going to be a stud. Um, I really do. I was like, I was all over that. I was like, man, the 49ers are looking solid this draft.
Yeah, like I said, I think I know everybody's hyped up for Trey Lance, and I'm definitely excited for Trey Lance. I think he's definitely has a bright future for the team. You know, the O line, the receivers, Shanahan, all that stuff. But outside of him, Trey Sermon, I think just as big of a chance for Trey Lance to succeed with the Niners, Trey Sermon does, because again, Kyle Shanahan, he's a running coach. Him and Bobby Turner, the running backs coach, they have churned out great players, you know, and a lot of them were like Raheem Mostert had some great, you know, seasons. He's become a pretty good running back.
Yep.
He was undrafted, you know, Jeff Wilson Jr. He was a touchdown machine last year. And I mean, he's undrafted. So a lot of the guys, Matt Breida was a solid player for us before, you know, undrafted. So a lot of the guys that Kyle Shanahan gets, they're kind of under the radar. Got Trey Sermon. People know him. He was on a big market, Ohio State, and he is a bruiser, hard to tackle. He's got good cutting ability. He's quick with the ball. He's just a different type of runner than Shanahan's had traditionally on this team. And I'm telling you, man, I think this guy is going to be a dominant running back. He's going to be a top running back in this league sooner than many people expect. I know Raheem's there, and I love the guy, and I think he's great at what he does. But, you know, again, he's not getting any younger. Running back's one of those positions where you flame out quickly. And Raheem's been hurt a lot, and I think they got good insurance for him. He's a guy, you give him 10, 12 carries, he's that home run hitter, and that's what you need to do. You don't need to give him 20 carries. You got Trey Sermon, who can pound the rock. You can give him 15, 20 carries, five yards here, 6 yards here. He'll hit you with 12. That's the type of guy that's going to wear down the defense. And in this offense, man, he's going to thrive. I'm so excited for Trey Sermon. You don't know, when they drafted him, I'm sure my reaction was like, oh, because we were going live. Me and my guys from on Instagram, we do the quad block on Fridays. So we live streamed the whole draft basically. And when Trey Sermon got announced, I was like victory lap around the place. We were going hyped up. We were like, Trey Sermon, oh my God. And people were like, the fans were like, oh, why did they get a running back? I was like, you guys don't realize how big of a signing this is. And I think the Niner fans are going to love him.
I think so too. I mean, you got to think about it. You had Tevin Coleman, right? And he was like, he's good, but he's never healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
And you guys lost Breida to the Dolphins like a year or two ago. I liked Breida. I think he was a stud. But then you got your other two guys, Jeff Wilson and what was his name? Wilson.
JaMycal Hasty.
Yeah, he stepped up. Yep.
Yeah, and then he got hurt, collarbone fracture, and then
I mean, Jeff Wilson, that's a crazy amount of injuries. I mean, you ever like wondered, is it just Shanahan? Is it just bad luck, or do you think it was like something to do? Did he hire a new staff and it was like personal trainers or athletic trainers that aren't working out, or?
That's the question everybody asks, because we talked about this several weeks ago. David Lombardi put him on my page, and everybody's been talking about this. Really, anybody that's a Niner fan, because there has been injuries like we talked about earlier on the show. I mean, what is it the train? I feel like maybe they're just training so hard, because if Shanahan wants these guys to be bullies, he wants them to be hard nosed and like just tougher than anybody else. And I feel like maybe they are practicing hard, because I know a couple of years back they were having these injuries, right? And everybody's like, oh, something's got to give, change the training staff. They did. They hired a whole new training staff. They're like preventative medicine. They're guys from the NHL. They do like injury analytics. Like they changed the whole staff, man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did. They changed the whole staff. So it's like they did already hire a new staff, and they're still getting injuries. And I know last year was kind of a weird year because of COVID. A lot of injuries across the league were kind of higher, I feel, because they didn't have that initial OTA. They didn't have that training phase. You didn't have rookie minicamp. And I feel like people were just kind of thrown in cold, and the injuries kind of a lot of soft tissue issues. Soft tissue injuries. But I feel like, man, the Niners, they already started with 3 injuries this season, the OTA. So it's like Justin Skule, ACL, Tarvarius Moore, Achilles, and then who was the other guy? So Tarvarius Moore, Justin Skule, and then we had another injury. I can't think off the
this
top of my head.
offseason, right?
Yeah. Jeff Wilson Jr. Sorry, the meniscus. So meniscus for Jeff Wilson, Achilles for Tarvarius Moore, and then Justin Skule, the ACL. So 3 injuries in OTAs, but I mean, who knows what it is?
Then you got players coming off of like ACL tears.
Bosa, man. We all hope he's back to his full level, but you can't just throw him into the fire day one. You got to kind of ease him in. You don't want to risk any more injuries. But you're right. We talked about this earlier at the beginning. he looks damn good, man. All his
He
videos he's
does.
posted, his lateral movements, and for ACL, those lateral movements are key. And he looked freaking amazing. And everything I've heard behind the scenes, and everything Shanahan and Lynch have said, and all the reporters and all the players, they all say he's looking good, and he feels good. So
Great. Now, do you think it's like, you think they're training their players too hard? Do you think they're going to, have you heard if they're going to take a step back? Have you heard like why you think it's happening from Shanahan's point of view? Or do you think they're just not stretching enough before games?
I
Or
mean, like you said, it could be any of those factors. Like in my mind, with my medical knowledge, it's like that's what I feel. I feel like maybe they're just going so hard. They don't want to like go easy. They just want to train hard to be the best, and maybe that training is hurting them. Maybe they aren't stretching enough, but I mean, you can't speculate because we're not there. We're not seeing what's going on. So
yeah,
it could be luck. It could be diet. It could be weather. It could be the field conditions, but they do practice on grass. I think it's a combination of everything, literally everything that can cause an injury. I think it's just a combination of it. And there is some luck involved to it because injuries in sports are going to happen. And unfortunately for us, it's happening at a high rate. And I feel like that's why I feel like maybe they're just training a little too hard. Maybe, who knows?
that could very much be it. I mean, like players could, like, your muscles are so tired, and then the next day you wake up and you just push your body past what
No.
it's not healed all the way from a
Yeah,
heavy workout or something. That could very much be it.
it could.
But
And,
I
and and
mean,
the other thing too, since we have a lot of players that have been injured over the years, little nagging injuries here and there, they
mhm.
add up. And then because you're training so hard and you're still recovering from the previous injury, you're not 100%. And then you go out and you're training 120%. I mean, maybe you're going to get hurt. So that's kind of what I'm saying is like, there's training so hard, like you said, just like you said, maybe they're not 100% recovered, they're sore, and they go out and they push it a little bit too much and then cause
Ooh,
injury. So that's kind of the
yeah.
way I'm looking at this. But hey, who knows?
I think that's actually a good, a valid point, like a valid reason of why this could be happening. That's something I haven't even like thought of, like training too hard and actually wearing out your muscles and not letting your body recover in time and just keep pushing yourself. That's not even something I thought of. I thought of as like, oh, they're not warming up before games. I mean, obviously, I'm sure they're stretching, and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
trainers are walking around making sure they're stretching. So like, and maybe I think your reason that actually may be it. So that's
could be. I mean, it's just so many variables when you go into
yeah,
injuries. Like when I have patients myself, things happen to them. It's like, what can be the causing factor? So you look at everything and, but it's different with an athlete because they're conditioned to like so much better than anybody, like the average Joe, me and you,
that's
you know,
yeah, that's for
and
sure.
their training is so intense. Like the NFL training is so intense. Like I was talking to Eric Davers, former cornerback for the 49ers, legendary player, man, couple months ago, and we was talking about, because we were talking about injuries and this and
Mhm.
that, and he said, look, man, NFL players train like just so crazy. So like they train all year, but when it's like grind time and it's time to get like really serious,
Yeah.
like their training is just even more intense than you can ever imagine. I was like, dang, man. He goes, yeah, they do train super hard. So maybe, I mean, they're already training so hard. So if they're even going harder than they normally go, the bodies can only take so much.
That's true. I mean, I don't know. Like before I started recording, you were saying you were tired, you took a nap. I'm like, yeah, sometimes you got to listen to your body. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, if you're an athlete or not. Like sometimes everyone's body works differently, and you could just be like, maybe the 49ers just have players on their team where their bodies are just like, hey, listen to me. I'm tired. I need the rest. And then you still go and push. And I mean, it's
You
like,
never know.
yeah,
That's a good point because, like you said, what you just said. Everybody is different, 100%. And that's why I tell patients who I work with, like everybody's different. They always ask me, so when am I going to get better? When am I going to heal? When does this heal? When does this injury type heal? I'm like, honestly, there's no correct answer because everybody is different, and athletes
absolutely.
are different than anybody because their bodies are at a whole different level than anybody. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
You just never know, man. Like you said, tons of variables. Man, that's crazy. I wish the 49ers the best of luck. I really think they have a Super Bowl uh caliber roster if they can stay healthy. I think that you guys have a great chance. And honestly, I see Lance starting by midseason, if not
do you
sooner.
really?
I do.
I know there's so much debate, and you're right. This team has so much potential. They have a great team: Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, Kinlaw, JV, all the players. We can sit here and talk about all the players. Trent Williams. And then down goes the list. And Kyle Shanahan, coach, honestly, health is the only thing that's holding them back. If they can't stay healthy, it's going to be a long season. And Jimmy G, he wins games.
Yeah.
That's right. He has to prove that he can stay healthy. And if he doesn't, the insurance policy that they drafted was Trey Lance. And that's a great trade. You know, if Jimmy gets hurt, I think, yeah, Trey will be in there. But I think he'll be in there at some point before, just to kind of ease him in. There's going to be certain packages where they have him in. Whether he starts at some point this season or not, it's going to be determined. But I'm going to tell you this, man. I think he's going to come to training camp with the chip on his shoulder, a lot to prove. And the way Jimmy's kind of approached this offseason, class act, man, total professional. He could have been mad. He's taken him under his wing. He's been laid little fire under him because now he has a guy that he knows is coming for his job, and he has a lot of competition, and competition breeds success. Because in the past, Jimmy looked behind his shoulder, Nick Mullins, CJ Beathard. No disrespect to them, but hey, when you have Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard behind you, you're not gonna work as hard. Now you look back and you're like, holy crap, Trey Lance, he looks good and he throws good. I'm a little worried if I'm Jimmy G. So he's coming in with some extra motivation, but it's gonna be a fun training camp battle. I do think Jimmy starts week 1. I know there's been a lot of debate.
No,
Jimmy's a week 1 starter. He has a lot of respect from the locker room, but I won't be surprised if Trey does start midseason, like you said. I won't be surprised.
I think, I for sure think Jimmy Garoppolo, and I do think he's a winning quarterback, but he's more of like to me, he reminds me of an Alex Smith. He's a game manager, and he knows how to win games.
Yeah.
But like he's not bad. Yeah, and it's good, but he's not that huge playmaker kind of guy. And I think they might they'll be winning games, and I think they're going to have a winning record. But by midseason, if Jimmy G is healthy and they're kind of on an offensive slump where they're not scoring as many points as they'd like, I think that they're going to throw in Lance, and I think he's going to create that spark, and it's going to just kind of rejuvenate the offense. And it's going to be one of those things where they'll keep starting Jimmy G every week. But just to be named the starter, I think you just have to take the first snap of the game. So you can start
kind of easing them in and then get more. That's not a bad way to look at it. I mean,
I think that's what's going to happen.
There's so many scenarios that could play out. There's a scenario where Jimmy starts all season. There's this scenario where Trey comes in early and then an injury, right? There's a lot. There's a lot of different scenarios. I can see what you're saying come true. I definitely think even though Jimmy's going to start, I think Trey's coming in. They're going to design some plays for him because they got to get him some reps. They got to get him live reps. They got to get him comfortable running in a pro style offense. They got to get him comfortable with playing with Kittle and Ayuk and Debo and everybody in an NFL game. You know, there's going to be packages. The more he's comfortable, the more they're going to give him chances. But as far as him coming in and playing the majority of the game, it all depends on how Jimmy is. If he's struggling, if he's hurt, if he's, just not showing what he can do, then they're going to pull the plug, and they have Trey. But it's a good luxury to have 2 really solid quarterbacks that can start and win games for you. Because I think if Trey comes in, they can win any of the games that Jimmy could win because they have such a good team around them. And also the defense. Defense is great. Fred Warner, we haven't even talked about him.
I know.
So much talent. And we go back to injuries. Another guy we haven't even mentioned, Jalen Hurts. This guy has all the potential in the world. If he can stay healthy, there's your wide receiver 3. That is, to me, the biggest battle of training camp. We're talking about Jimmy and Trey and their battle. Wide receiver is probably the biggest camp battle that's coming up because Kendrick Bourne left, like we talked about earlier, to the Patriots, and a creative void. You got Brandon Ayuk and Debo. Those are your wide receivers 1 and 2. Those are your guaranteed guys. After them, who makes the roster at wide receiver? This is going to be a battle. You got Mohamed Sanu, River Craycraft. You got Richie James. You got Jalen Hurts, Juwan Jennings. You got Kevin White, you got Austin Watkins. Who's going to make it to wide receiver on this team? So that's a big battle.
Kevin White, I forgot y'all signed him.
There's so many players on this team. But anyways, what I'm saying is, it's just that competition is going to bring out the best in everybody, and it goes back to the quarterbacks. Jimmy and Trey, man, they're going to bring out the best in each other. And today there was a report that Trey Lance said, Jimmy's been a great guy and he's learned so much from it. You kind of love that camaraderie. So it's not going to be, I don't think there's going to be any hard feelings if one of them plays and the other one doesn't. They know that they got to win. And again, Jimmy, he knows this guy's going to eventually take his job. But for him, Jimmy's trying to prevent him from taking it sooner rather than later. So
Yeah, and I think that's huge for not only like you guys as fans, but for the locker room to not
yeah,
have any quarterback drama. I mean, just for them to be like having fun playing the game and just loving teaching a young guy new stuff. I
yeah,
think that's good on Jimmy G. I mean, he's always been a respectable guy. So I think that, like you said, it's a class act by him. And I think that it's going to make the whole transition easier with no hard feelings. I see Jimmy G going out with a smile on his face, regardless of the situation.
yeah.
Now,
I do.
unless something like huge pops up where he's like, "That's my team now," but like,
Yeah, and I can't see anything like that because again, he's
yeah,
been handled this well. He texted Trey. He was the first one to text him. They got a
yeah,
good relationship. All the players respect Jimmy. The players are starting to respect Trey. So yeah, the kid's got to earn his stripes. He's a rookie. I get it, but they're set up for a good future. Again, Trey's
absolutely,
out of all the rookie quarterbacks, I think Trey has the best chance to succeed because the team that he's on, most of the time when you're a top 5 quarterback in this league in the draft, or you drafted that early,
yeah,
you're on a rebuilding team. You're on a bad team. Trevor Lawrence on the Jaguars. This team's not a great team. They got some good pieces. They're not a great team.
right,
The Jets rebuilding team, new head coach. I love Salah, but it's a lot on his plate. So Trey, he lucked out, man, coming to the Niners. Like you said, Super Bowl capable team, and he's a rookie on that team. So
absolutely. I think y'all
yeah.
are set up for a great future. Um, Raj, man, I've taken quite a bit of your time, and I just want to say thank you for. I mean, I love chatting with you. You're entertaining, and you're knowledgeable about the game, and you're knowledgeable about the 49ers. And for me to get more in depth on what's going on, because I'm not a huge 49ers fan, like,
Yeah.
but I try to cover all NFL, but I am a Green Bay Packers fan, so I do
You
like
do
to
a good
talk
job.
about the
No hard
Packers.
feelings. I know you're a Packers fan. Week 3, I might not talk to you a little bit, but hey, you do a
Man,
good job running your page, and I respect it, and I appreciate you having me on here. And we could have sat here all night and talked, but
I would.
anytime you want me on, man, let me know, and I'll make some time for you, and we'll go at it and we'll talk. Week 3, we might have to discuss some things.
Oh man, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be really fun. I
Fun
can't wait
game,
for
man.
that.
Yeah, that's gonna be good times, man. And hopefully your team um, does well. I mean, we haven't even talked about it. You're a Packers fan. Before we end this, talk to me about Aaron Rodgers. What do you know who's coming? What do you think?
Oh,
Is he holding out? Is he coming back? What's the deal, man? We
Raj,
almost got him.
man.
We almost tried to trade for him. The Niners.
Oh, Raj, man. Okay, okay. I think it's all media. I think it's all media. I think
Okay.
not all of it, obviously. I think Aaron Rodgers is very frustrated with the organization. And from what I've heard, and I think there's been a report saying that Aaron didn't mean for any of this to go public. I think this was between him and the office.
Yeah.
And I think everything that's gone public and gotten leaked, he was kind of like upset about it. Like, guys, this
Wow.
was between me and uh, Matt LaFleur and Mark Murphy. I mean, this was between us, and stuff got leaked. I see him in Green Bay. I don't see him going anywhere. And from stuff I've been told, you could see him there for the next few years. I mean,
Yeah.
but like I said, there's tons of rumors right now. And I've been asked not to say, I mean, obviously, like, I don't know if this stuff is 100% true, but I know a guy who runs a Packers podcast. He's got a decent following, and
Yeah.
he's told me some things. And I'm like, it's good news for Packers fans, but he asked me not to tell anyone. So I was like, okay, I won't. And I respect that 100%. But I'm just saying, when all of this started, I didn't see Aaron Rodgers leaving Green Bay.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look that way now. And I still don't see it in the future. I think he'll retire as a Packer eventually, whether it's this season or he could have opted out and he didn't.
Yeah. That's
And
the
that was
thing.
a huge,
That was the big thing because he could have opted out and still collected. It was like 18 million or something, a big hefty amount.
yeah, it was
And the
like
fact that
20
he
million.
didn't it's like pretty crazy amount of money. The fact that he didn't opt out tells me everything I need to know. I know he's frustrated. I didn't know there was a lot of stuff behind the scenes that it wasn't supposed to be leaked because the media, man, they did a great job of throwing this out there.
Absolutely.
And the
That's
Niners
their
got
job.
involved for a little bit. Yeah, it's their job. They got to create stories. They need
Uh-huh.
to entertain people. They need to get views and all that, blah, blah. That tells me everything I need to know. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to go anywhere, at least not this season.
Yeah.
If he retires next season, that's the whole nother story. But I think Rodgers will be starting week 1. and be getting sacked by Nick Bosa week 3. So he'll be there.
Oh, all right. All right. Hey, you know what? If he gets sacked by Nick Bosa, as long as Aaron's not hurt, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, man.
Bosa's an effective player. So if he gets sacked by Bosa, I'm gonna be like, all right, he's a good player. At least he got sacked by someone who's good.
Yeah. Right.
Man. Yeah, I'm excited for that game. The last, I don't remember the games last season of the 49ers, but I know in the NFC Championship on your Super Bowl year, y'all killed us on the ground.
That was a hell of a game. Yeah, Raheem Mostert, man, we didn't even need to pass the ball. That's why everybody talks about Jimmy, oh, he doesn't pass the ball. Literally didn't need to. If you can't stop that running, I'm going to keep on feeding. If you can't stop it, I'm going to keep doing it until you show me you can stop it. And Raheem, ate him alive, man.
Dude, leave it to the Packers.
Crazy, man.
Typical Packers defense, man.
They always let up the run. It's like back when Cap was on the team. What do? We ran through you guys. It was like Swiss cheese. It was crazy. Kaepernick setting records. I mean, traditionally, when the Niners have beaten the Packers, it's a strong run game. I remember way back, the Packers used to own us in the 90s. And I was so frustrated. I was God, man, we can never beat this damn team. Brett Favre always gunslinged us.
Gunslinging, man.
Steve Young. He always beat us, but the year we beat you guys in the playoff, the wild card, the catch 2, T.O., Steve Young to T.O., that was one of the best games because T.O. was having the worst game, man. He was dropping everything. And the fact that he held on and he caught that pass to win the game, I remember running outside my house. I was 16, I think, at the time. I ran outside my house. I was screaming, oh, we did it. Oh, my God. I had a pot. I was banging on people there goes Rod. There goes the neighborhood. They were
he's the crazy 49ers fan.
Yeah, there's that crazy Rod. And I was and everybody came out there. Did you see? I was like, what do you think I'm doing? I'm screaming my head out. Everybody's there goes Rod. Because they knew me, man. I was as hyped as I was now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I'll make sure to give you some smack talk on week 3. I didn't know
we go back at it, man.
I didn't know they were playing the 49ers then, but I hope you get carved up. I'm just gonna say it.
You'll see, man. Hey, you guys took care of us last season, but half our team was hurt. So
that's true. That's true. And when it comes to the playoffs, the Packers are something else.
I do respect Rodgers because last season after the game, after you guys beat us, they asked him, they were like, oh yeah, last season you guys these guys handled you in the NFC chat. And he goes, listen, this is not the same team that we played last season. Let's get that out of the way. And then he says, Fred Warner is arguably the best linebacker in this league. So it was great to see him still fighting. I got a lot of respect because Aaron Rodgers called Fred Warner the best linebacker in the league. And he also recognized the fact that our team was demoralized by injury. So I do have a lot of respect for Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. And I think that's another thing, Aaron Rodgers, I want to say last season when he won the MVP, right?
Yeah.
That's the first time in years, I've seen Aaron with a big smile on his face almost every game. You know what I mean? He was different because he was having more fun and he was relaxed. And I've watched a lot of his interviews with Pat McAfee. He was live every Tuesday with Pat McAfee. Yeah. And he's just man, he goes, I've been focusing a lot on mental health. Just his I don't know if he got into meditation or yoga or something.
Oh, he's a big yoga guy now. Him and his girl, they're out in Hawaii or wherever they're at. And they've been just relaxed. You could tell he's definitely living his best life. He's relaxing. He's a lot more laid back because you're right. Before he used he felt it just felt like he was more rigid because a lot of people, he had a bad rap from the media. A lot of people say Aaron's a diva. It's not that. It's just, he just wasn't as chill as he was. And I think you're right. That really messed him up because you're right. I think he had a lot more fun. You're right. That's the key.
He did. He was having fun. The team was winning and he knew that's because I think he was finally gaining a little respect from the front office. Guys, he's mad because now he's frustrated because he knows, he looks at what the Bucks just did with Tom Brady first year there, wins a Super Bowl. Then they re-signed the entire roster. He's like, guys, I'm telling you, if you get this player, re-sign these players and get this player, get them on this team, I can take you to a Super Bowl. And he's seeing that's what Tom Brady's doing.
So close. Listen to the guy. He's been an MVP. He's taken this team to championship. This guy is their franchise. And the fact they disrespect them, the fact they drafted Jordan Love tells me all I need to know about that front office.
Don't even get me started.
disrespectful. No disrespect to Jordan Love. I think he could be, I don't know. Who knows? But the fact that you guys needed a wide receiver and you go and take a quarterback. I know we kind of messed your draft plans up by taking IU because you guys wanted them. But still, there was other receivers in that draft class, man. It's like,
don't even get me started.
You could have went and got T. Higgins.
They could have gotten Justin Jefferson too. I think they were saying they were targeting. I read something a while back. They were targeting Justin Jefferson. And yeah, they had just I mean, there were so many players available when they drafted, and then they traded up.
Last year's wide receiver class was so good, man. Like,
oh my God, you had no idea.
I got nothing against Jordan Love, but the fact you guys needed a damn wide receiver and you went and took a quarterback, I'd be pissed off if I was Aaron Rodgers too. I'd be so mad. I got respect for the guy.
So he won it. What did he do? He went out and won a freaking MVP.
He won an MVP, and then you still don't get the guys that he wants, man. What did you? No wonder he's mad at management. Like, bro, I would be mad at management too. Literally 2 years in a row. Get me a wide receiver. Oh, we're gonna get a quarterback.
Don't worry, we'll get you a wide receiver, Aaron. Jordan Love, we're gonna trade up for a guy who would have been available second or third round. Like, exactly.
What?
So dumb.
And help Tay Adams out. Adams is out there busting his ass. He's doing everything. Eventually, teams are gonna double team him. And then who are you gonna throw to? I know you got the tight end,
Tanyan.
Tanyan, Kittle's one of his best friends. Like, you got him. But eventually, people are going to start covering. And then after that, what do? You have to keep evolving your offense. That's how you got to do it.
Yeah, and we drafted Jay Sternberger a couple of years ago, and he's not done anything. And I think he's had off the field issues too. So it's like I expected a lot out of Sternberger. I thought that was a steal of a pick, and it turns out it wasn't. I was actually wrong about that one.
Again, you never know with these players because they some of them look so great, and you never know because you get to the league and it mentally is a whole different beast. It's like Reuben Foster for the Niners. Oh my God, I was so excited about.
I was too.
Reuben Foster, the Alabama linebacker, we traded up. I was like, oh my God, I remember going crazy. Like, oh my God, Reuben, we got him. We got
Foster should have been so good.
Like, we got the next Navarro Bowman. Oh my God, we got the next Patrick Willis. Like, and then all the off-field problems and the way he played and he got injured. And the only good thing about that is the next season they knew they had to get an insurance policy, and they took Fred Warner, and that has worked out beautifully. So
yeah, Warner's good, and I even like Jimmy Ward. I mean, you guys got many good.
I love Jimmy Ward, man.
So many great players on your defense. It's kind of ridiculous. Like you were going through all the players you've re-signed, and I'm like, and I'm going like, oh my God, they did this. That's so many depth players.
That's what I'm saying. This team has so much talent. They just got to stay healthy, my man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, Aaron Rodgers, he's pissed. Don't blame the guy. So he went out and won an MVP. What did they do? They still didn't draft a wide receiver. They got Amari Rodgers, which I really like.
I like Amari. I think that's the steal right there. I like that kid. Good slot player.
Still didn't take a wide receiver in the first or second round, which is saying something to Aaron Rodgers. I
do think though that Amari is the type
I'm
of
offended guy, shirt.
Yeah, I agree. I think they could have went and got another like a bigger name guy, but I think Amari kind of slipped under the cracks, and I feel like that's the type of guy that's going to be a solid player. I think he's going to be a great slot player in this. I like him out of this draft, but
I do too. I forgot about him. Oh,
are we getting close to ending time? I think or no?
No, the camera it goes to sleep on me. Yeah, I use like my camera as a webcam.
Got it.
No, yeah, Amari Rodgers, dude. I actually forgot about him. They said his name, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
I know him. He's good.
You get to a certain point in the draft, and you just like forget, and then you're like, the guy's still there.
Yeah, I was like, I figured he would have been gone. Like, I just forgot he was even like playing. Like, I've been watching him for years. I was wanting Elijah Moore. I was wanting, all these other big name players.
Elijah Moore would have been nice. Arizona took him. That's the big pick for them. That was nice.
Freaking A, dude. There's so many players like that they could have gotten.
I know.
They got to help Tay. And, he put up insane numbers last season, and he still missed 2 games.
I know. That's the thing, man. That's the thing. Like, even Brandon Ayuk, he had a hell of a rookie season, missed 4 games, and they had 3 quarterbacks last season. That's why I keep telling people, like, keep sticking on Brandon Ayuk. This guy, everybody says, CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Judy, like Henry Ruggs, they're going to be the best out of this last year's draft class. And I got no disrespect for, especially CeeDee Lamb. I think he's great.
And he did well, too.
Brandon Ayuk put up better stats than any rookie wide receiver other than Justin Jefferson last season. He had 3 quarterbacks and missed 4 games. So,
yeah, he did well. I'm a big fan of him, and he's gonna. I like he's the one that had that really cool hurdle too.
Yeah, the big they play that so many times. I mean, as many times as I can't get sick of it. It's starting to get a little old though.
yeah. You're like, no, he did more than that. I promise.
Yeah, he did a lot more than that. But that play is on everybody's highlight reel.
Yeah, of course it is. But I mean, he's gonna have a heck of a career if he can stay healthy. I'm excited for him.
Yeah.
Same for the Packers, man. I think Aaron Rodgers is gonna come back. I don't know what he's gonna do, honestly. I don't know if he's gonna be as happy as he was last season, just because all the drama around him right now.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the guy, kind of, because he's like, but right, it seemed like, there's pictures of him with his fiance in Hawaii, and then he announced, he's like, on the Pat McAfee show or something, he's like, yeah, me and my fiance, and he's like, wait, hold on, what?
Like, yeah. So, like I said, he's enjoying life. I don't think even if he doesn't play again, he'll be good, because if he wanted to, he could probably go host Jeopardy and he'll get paid handsomely without having to take hits. So
how he's actually like extremely smart too.
He is, yeah. I mean, he went to Cal. That's a good school. Cal's
right.
Good
He's like, I've heard like just listening to him talk, and then like I've heard other players talk about the things that he like points out during games. They're I've never even heard of a guy like saying some of the things he says and like or bringing this up and this up, and I don't know. I think he's just a once in a lifetime talent, and
he's a
the
great
Packers
player.
have done a really good job at wasting it. Oh gosh.
Well, we hope for the best with him. Again,
that's a whole other podcast.
Soon enough.
Yeah.
Good luck to him when he shows up and Nick Bosa's back. So we'll see.
Man.
So